Vsb TV 11 News for Wednesday, April 30th. I'm Peter Cattell. Our top story: 2 men have been arrested in connection with the shooting that took place at around 2:45 this morning in the Cove Valley Road area of St. David's. This afternoon, Acting Detective Chief Inspector Dave Greenwich provided details surrounding the latest shooting.
Officers were directed to a 20-year-old male who was suffering from suspected gunshot injuries to his lower extremities. First aid was administered, and the male was later transported to the King Edward Memorial Hospital, where he is currently receiving treatment. Those injuries are not life-threatening. Officers understand that immediately prior to the shooting, the victim was involved in a verbal and physical altercation with 2 or more persons in the area. Forensic scene examiners and detectives, well, they've just finished their examination and search of the area surrounding the crime scene, and have gathered some evidence from that scene which we will process at a later date. But we are currently keen to speak to anyone who may have heard or seen anyone acting suspiciously in the Cove Valley and the St. Luke's Lane areas around 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning, and possibly up to 4 a.m. this morning. We are looking for anyone that has seen any vehicles, and more specifically a dark-colored four-door sedan motor car. This vehicle was allegedly to be in the area around that time, and significantly the vehicle did not have any license plates attached either to the front or the back. So that's very, very significant to this investigation. So we're appealing to any persons who witnessed the incident or can provide any information to contact detectives from the Serious Crime Department. And the senior investigation officer for this particular incident is Detective Inspector Michael Redfern. And these officers can be contacted at 247-1739 or 247-1340, or the confidential and independent Crime Stoppers hotline at 800-8477.
Opposition leader Mark Bean today announced a new shadow cabinet for the Progressive Labour Party, with 11 portfolios changing hands and 3 remaining with the same politician. Vsb News' Brian Darby has the details.
Commenting that there was a new spirit in the community that says Bermudians will not be content with being second-class citizens in their own country, and that the old ideas had failed us, Mr. Bean said that he was turning to people with new ideas and new approaches to tackle the problems of the day. To that end, he said he was determined to field a shadow cabinet that reflected Bermuda as it is, and with the vision to carry it forward. Deputy Leader Derek Burgess becomes Shadow Minister with responsibility for Labour, Relations and Seniors. Former Shadow Health Minister Zane De Silva moves to Shadow Minister of Tourism. Michael Scott becomes Shadow Attorney General. Kim Wilson will fight for affordable health care as Shadow Minister of Health. Walter Raban takes on Shadow Minister of Public Safety. Opposition Whip Levita Fogo joins the PLP Shadow Cabinet for the first time as Shadow Education Minister, and Wayne Furbert moves to Economic Development as Shadow Minister. The fight for the environment will be taken up by Shadow Environment Minister Glenn Blakeney, and Walton Brown becomes Shadow Minister for Immigration and External Affairs. Rolf Commissioner returns to the Cabinet as Shadow Minister for Human Affairs, and Dennis Lister takes up the hammer as Shadow Minister of Public Works. Retaining their portfolios are Shadow Finance Minister David Burt, Shadow Transport Minister Lawrence Scott, and Shadow Minister of Community and Cultural Affairs Michael Weeks. Parliament meets on Friday, May the 9th, for the summer session. I'm Brian Darby for Vsb News.
A bizarre incident on Front Street in which a young woman appeared to remove the shades from an elderly man who had collapsed in the middle of the road and run away shouting, "I've got his shades," has left police puzzled by the fact that many people saw the brazen theft, but no one thought to report it. It happened last Thursday afternoon, and the man was transported to hospital in an unconscious state. So witnesses who told Vsb News about the incident are now hoping it was captured on one of the many CCTV cameras operating on Front Street. The thief was accompanied by other young women, and they were later seen traveling in a car past the spot, with the girl still waving the shades of the shocked bystanders. Because the crime has not been reported, Police cannot confirm any of the facts, but reliable witnesses are on hand and are prepared to tell the police what they saw. By the year 2050, scientists are predicting the world's reefs will be in a state of collapse, and that by the end of the century they will be gone. What this will mean to Bermuda, which relies on the reefs to protect the beaches and foreshore of the entire island chain, can only be guessed at. But Dr. Thad Murdoch, a leading expert on Bermuda's reefs, is a worried man, as Vsb News' Brian Darby found out.
Do you think Bermuda should take a look at the climate change from a personal point of view and have a task force of sorts?
Certainly, being a fairly low-lying island, we're lucky that we're not very low-lying. The very low-lying islands are facing the threat immediately. There's islands like Mali, which is a whole island nation of little tiny islands that only are a couple of feet above sea level. They know they're going to have to move one day, if you can believe it. Bermuda's 250 feet high in some spots, so it would take a while for us to wash away. But before that happens, it's more than likely that our corals won't be able to grow properly, and if our corals die, then our fisheries are going to collapse, but also our coasts are going to start eroding. The beaches will change shape dramatically, probably become much smaller. It'll be much more rocky coasts, much less pretty beaches. A lot of the things that bring tourists to Bermuda will go away. Storm damage will be
20, 30, 40 years?
They're saying by 2050, most of the reefs in the world are going to be threatened, and by the end of the century, they'll be gone. And they predict it'll be millions of years before the reefs come back. So if they die, they're gone. The best thing we can do is try to keep our reefs, well, because I study coral reefs, so that's most of what I've put my energy into. There are things we can do to make the reefs as healthy as possible so that when ocean acidification and the temperature changes associated with climate change happen, that the reef is as strong as it can be so that it can handle those other changes. And so things like overfishing, putting pollutants in the water, dredging ship channels, all these impacts lower the health of the whole system.
The lionfish doesn't help any either.
Yeah, the lionfish, our surveys haven't actually seen terribly huge numbers in the lagoon. There's some, they're quite deep, but they're not in the shallow reef that's acting as a barrier.
Eat the fish that save the reef.
Yeah, certainly we want to catch all the lionfish we can. But we also we used to have a type of grouper that was so abundant people didn't bother counting it, and now it's gone. We used to have Nassau grouper. They were super abundant. Now we wiped them out about 30 years ago. And what that's done to the whole system, nobody knows.
Bermuda's Attorney General, Mark Pettingill, has found himself in the thick of things as the British and American governments launch an effort to find and recover billions of dollars stolen by the government of ousted Ukrainian President Viktor Yanukovych. The UK and US have initiated a meeting in London attended by representatives from 35 countries aimed at helping the Ukrainian assets, including Mr. Pettingill, who found himself asked by the World Bank to preside over one of the meetings. The delegates learned from the U.S. Attorney General Eric Holder that the FBI was setting up a special kleptocracy squad to investigate high-level corruption in the Ukraine and other parts of the world. Mr. Holder also expressed satisfaction with European Union sanctions against Russia for its actions, while the British Serious Fraud Office has started a criminal investigation into money laundering. Still ahead on the TV11 News is Rachel with the weather preview.
Thanks, Peter. Mainly fair conditions through Saturday. On the radar, we've got some showers within the marine area, but it doesn't look like they're going to affect us. So please stay tuned for the full weather report later.
The weather radar picture provided courtesy of the Ministry of Transport on Vsb Tv 11.
You can count on us.
Save $1 on Bermuda-grown green leaf lettuce, $2.49 a bunch. Great on the grill, frozen baby back pork spare ribs, $2.99 per pound. Your choice, imported white or brown eggs, $2.89 per dozen. $4.49 for a 32-ounce jar of Libby's mayonnaise. Buy one 48-ounce tub of Bluebonnet ice cream and get the second one free. 2 tubs for only $9.35. Visit our website at www.marketplace.pm for more super specials.
You can count on us.
diagnostic service at its best. Stop by Bermuda's premier automobile dealership and service center. Auto Solutions. Whirl with us.
Are you looking for a professional and reliable agency that does residential cleaning, office cleaning, or to care for your elderly or disabled loved one? If yes, our agency can help. At Bermuda At Home Services, our professional and courteous staff can assist you with all of these services. Email bahs@northrock.bm or call us at 541-2247 between 9 a.m. and 8 p.m. Mondays through Saturdays for a free estimate. Bermuda At Home Services, your home care under one roof.
Bermuda is an easy way to find great discounts while discovering fun activities to do in Bermuda.
Discover the best spas, restaurants, activities, services, and shops at 50% off.
Sign up to Bermudials and start saving today.
The first student on a distance learning course to be offered a place at the renowned Jinling College in Nanjing, China, heads off in a week's time on the trip of a lifetime. She is Kishana Thomas Qualo, a Bermudian attending the Bermuda College on her path to a business administration degree. And she thinks a 3-week crash course in Mandarin Chinese will help her impress the reinsurance industry.
I applied, sent my documents in, took a little while to get all the stuff ready and stuff, so applied, sent my stuff in, and then I got an email a couple of days later to say, congratulations, you're accepted. I was like so ecstatic. I was so excited. It was so exciting.
What is so wonderful is that Chinese students come to this part of the world. We're sending one back.
Exactly. I know, isn't that weird though?
What do you expect to learn?
I am really interested in learning the culture and also the language, Mandarin. So the course, we're going to be doing introductory Mandarin, Tai Chi, history, and geography.
But can you imagine what a wonderful thrill and what an asset it would be to be able to speak Mandarin and be part of the business world?
I know, it would be really interesting.
Who's promoting you with this? Who's pushing you?
Bermuda College, the staff, the faculty, you know, they've been really supportive with everything since day one. So along with a few other people, because how I actually got the money to go, I fundraised, got up a few sponsorships and stuff, and I just go to people that I ask for a small contribution, and people have been really supportive, and I'm just really honored and grateful for that.
Now, how long will it be there in total?
3 weeks.
3 weeks?
Yes.
So that's not going to cost a lot of money. That's the cost of getting there is half the fun.
Yes, so I've raised enough money to cover everything: tuition, accommodation, flight, visa. I just still need some more money for like living expense, so I'm still hoping to raise a few bit more dollars.
When are you going?
I leave May 7th, which is next Wednesday.
Are you excited?
I am, definitely, yes.
Summer is fast approaching, which is a perfect time of year for people to enjoy the great outdoors. Starting May 4th, every Sunday, there will be festivities in Victoria Park called Summer Sundays. Vsb's Julia Smatt spoke with the Corporation of Hamilton's event coordinator, Thomas Lightbourne, about what is new and exciting about the Summer Sundays this year.
This year we have some new ideas, starting with what I'm laying on right now. We decided to do an Ask campaign this year. to launch our Summer Sundays, which is pretty much an augmented S. We work with Glenn Jones at Bermuda Sun and produce this, which this is an augmented S that you can take out your smartphone, any Android or iPhone, and download the LayR app that's on this. You can scan the device.
And what happens? It was kind of cool. I saw you do it with your phone. Just explain to people in short what happens when you take the picture.
If you scan this S, the image comes alive. So you see whatever digital content that we upload. Right now you can find the commercial for the Summer Sundays as well as some images.
So the Corporation Hamilton seems to be really making some moves in technology.
We try to be cutting edge.
So what's the first one? I see it's going to be May 4th. Lift Your Voice. What can people expect at that event?
The first one is gospel. We tried gospel the first time last year and it was very successful, so we decided to follow that same template. We have a huge lineup. We have Chakray Asworth, my school buddy. We have my good friend Olivia Hamilton, Miss Bermuda Idol. We have Cindy Smith. We have Sia Spence, and we also have the SDA Inspirational Choir, which will be the Seventh-day Church, as well as a performance from the BI students, and much more. It's a great event. It's the first event. I want you all to come out and support it and get your praise on.
Now, here's a look at the daily markets, presented by Bias.
Here are the daily markets presented by Bias. Global equity markets edged higher as investors looked beyond weak first quarter U.S. economic data, while the U.S. dollar fell and U.S. Treasury yields rose. U.S. stocks rose as the Fed gave an upbeat assessment on the economy's prospects, despite the dismal first quarter economic data. The S&P closed at 1,884 points, a gain of 0.3%. 101,050 shares of Bank of Butterfield traded hands today. The stock closed at $1.99 at a loss of 0.5%. Other Bermuda-related insurance stocks generally declined today. UK stocks were mixed as a report showed US GDP grew a disappointing 0.1% and investors awaited a Federal Reserve decision on monetary policy. The FTSE added 0.15% to close at 6,780. The Hang Seng retreated 1.4% today as China's biggest producer of light metals reported a 2.2 billion yuan first quarter loss, up from 975 million a year earlier. The Vsb fell 0.41% as iron ore producer Vale SA tumbled after reporting a quarterly profit that was below analysts' estimates. The Vsb closed at 51,627. U.S. Treasuries rose and yields fell for a second day as the Fed reiterated that it's likely to keep benchmark interest rates close to zero for the near term. 10-year yields fell 5 basis points to close at 2.65%. The U.S. dollar dropped for a fifth day against most of its major peers as the Federal Reserve said interest rates will remain at their current levels for a considerable time after the end of its bond purchasing program. That was a look at the daily markets presented by Bias. There's more news after the break.
The Dollar Depots are your one-stop shop for your party and entertaining essentials. Bags, balloons, bows, decorations and invitations for all themes and occasions. Party favors, gifts and toys, piñatas, games and candy for any celebration. Fun and colorful accessories and supplies to create and cater the perfect party or family and friends gathering. Let Dollar Depot make your entertaining easy and your party pop. Visit Monday through Saturday at Hamilton, Heron Bay, Shelley Bay and Somerset. Dollar Depot, where you buy value for less.
Copyfax is Bermuda's authorized Samsung dealer. See a large range of Samsung color and black and white multifunctional machines, printers, scanners, faxes, and copiers, and all networkable. Copyfax has Samsung machines suitable for home, office, or any size business in an A4 format, taking up less room than other similar equipment. And replacement supplies are in stock for all of their Samsung products. Affordable shopping at Copyfax Limited, where service comes first.
Help build a lasting legacy with the Bermuda Hospital's Charitable Trust. Support our hospital by purchasing a 4x8-inch brick for the Legacy Walkway. Your engraved brick will be predominantly featured outside the new acute care wing. You can customize your brick with a personal message, a tribute, names of family members, or even a special thank you. Call 295-2428 or visit bhct.bm to make arrangements for your Legacy brick today.
In the interest of workers' safety, the Bermuda Electric Light Company is calling on dog owners to ensure that animals are properly controlled. The request is being made during the company's observance of Occupational Safety, Health and Environment Week. For many of Bermuda's workers, including Belco's meter readers and line workers, their workplace is the community at large. Workers who must access properties across the island in order to do their jobs are exposed to personal risk and injury, including attacks by insecured or poorly secured dogs. And in recent weeks, there have been 2 such incidents involving Belco staff. Under Bermuda law, owners may be subject to fines or other penalties for failure to ensure that dogs are properly secured at all times. And Belco says it would be grateful if residents acted responsibly towards all members of the public. The sports report is next, after the break.
For much more furniture, visit Bermuda's only Ashley Furniture Gallery. Big savings zone. You want the best? Forget the rest. For all your furniture needs, shop Big Savings Zone and support your local retailers. Have you ever ordered something online expecting it to be a certain price, but when it arrives it ends up being a whole lot more? Beware of those unexpected hidden fees. That never happens at Big Savings Zone. Open Tuesday through Saturday, 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. Big Savings Zone at the end of Stocks Road, St. David's.
The Bermuda Cricket Board's 2014 season officially gets underway this Sunday, with 4 Belco preliminary matches on tap. Cuts face Bridge, Cleveland meet the Wreck, Stars take on St. George's, and Somerset clash with Bay. Last year's finalists St. David's and Southampton Rangers automatically advance into the semi-finals. St. David's all-rounder Del Hollis told Vsb Sports he hopes the new format will break their bad luck as losing finalists.
From the St. David's point of view, I can actually say that to a certain degree that I'm glad that they've invited more teams. So it probably this year will give St. David's the option of actually winning it, because in the last 5 years we've come runners up, and never been successful. So with them just adding more teams, I think that our luck might change.
Okay, so you agree with the format?
Yeah, I do. From a St. David's point of view, but when it comes down to basically, adding all those teams, I would prefer to play the top teams in the island, like Dion said. The top 4 teams would basically be the best way to actually go. But I mean, like he said, it's trying to involve the community and stuff like that. So if that's the way that they have to go about it, then hey, that's the way they have to deal with it. I know very well that it's going to be kind of difficult for us and Rangers to basically get a practice match, or whatnot, because we factor the unavailabilities of certain fields and whatnot. So, like I said, I mean, hey, we just have to be limited to mistakes on the field, and hopefully that everything just goes our way.
Is there anything extra that you can do to stop yourself being undercooked by the time you come into the competition?
Well, to be honest, hey, I guess from St. David's point of view, it boils down to the individual players that have been selected, because the fact that we just seem to just crumble, when it comes down to the actual Belco Cup. I mean, look, prime example, last year we knocked Rangers out for, 80 and they end up beating us, so, it's just, all I can say, I guess, is too much electricity going into St. David's. So, so hopefully that this episode will basically change everything, and hopefully we can be successful.
People and Places with Charles Webb. Mondays in the Vsb TV 11 Evening News at 7:30, 8:30 and midnight. Sponsored by Big Saving Zone at the end of Stocks Road, St. David's.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to tonight's VSB weather forecast. Temperatures for today, we had a high of 71 at 2 in the afternoon and a low of 64 at 5 in the morning. Current conditions, 67 degrees, humidity 60%, winds northeast 10 to 15 knots, and barometric pressure is steady at 30.22 inches. Rainfall index for the month of April, 1.94 for a yearly total of 21.03. Yearly normal for this time, 18.54 inches. Looking at the satellite. As a high-pressure center to our north holds a ridge across the area through the week, mainly fair conditions will persist into Saturday. A cold front will then slowly approach the area Saturday night from the northwest, bringing showers with a risk of thunder overnight Saturday into Sunday. Those of you who are traveling, Atlanta, partly cloudy, 71. Boston, rain, 65. Charlotte, mostly cloudy, 76. London, 63 and mostly cloudy. Miami, 88, mostly sunny. New York, 72 and thunderstorms. Orlando, 89, possible thunderstorms. Philadelphia, rain likely and 75. Toronto, light rain and 57. And Washington, mostly cloudy and 75 degrees. Back at home tonight, partly to mostly cloudy with a low near 64. Winds northeast 10 to 15 knots and then veering east-northeast overnight. And tomorrow, partly to mostly cloudy with a high near 70. Winds east-northeast 8 to 12 knots and then veering easterly and decreasing to 5 to 10 knots. Veering southeast by the evening and then veering again southerly and increasing slightly 8 to 12 knots overnight. Marine tonight, we've got a small craft warning with seas inside the reef 2 to 4 feet. Seas outside the reef 6 to 13 feet. Sea surface temperature is 71 degrees. Marine tomorrow, small craft warning continues with seas inside the reef 2 to 3 feet. Seas outside the reef 6 to 13 feet. High tide will be at 10:42 in the morning and low tide will be at 4:30 in the afternoon. And looking at the 5-day forecast. Friday, sunny periods, high near 72. Saturday, mix of sun and cloud, a few showers overnight with a chance of thunder, so thankfully end-to-end is looking good during the day, high near 73. Sunday, mostly cloudy, occasional showers and a risk of thunder, breezy with a high near 71. Monday, partly cloudy with a high near 75. Thank you to meteorologist Fred Riley and everyone else at the Bermuda Weather Service. I'm Rachel Sodden. Have a great evening.
The Defence broadcasting stations have more diverse programming than any other broadcasting company in Bermuda.
This is London.
11:60 a.m. The BBC World Service. All day, every day, all night, every night. 11:60 a.m. One of the stations of the Defence Broadcasting Company.
Thanks for watching the TV 11 News. Good night.
Peter Cattell's attire courtesy of A.S. Cooper & Sons Limited. Wardrobe and makeup for Rachel Sordon, provided by Gibbons Company.
Vsb TV 11, Bermuda.